what? You have add value to that cassava. So yesterday, that is the things I learned.
That is correct. Yesterday we discussed value addition, especially for export readiness, that we don't have to rush to take our products to the market. We can be innovative and design more products from the agricultural produce that we have to process them into, say, from watermelon into watermelon juice, from okra to okra powder, as that would give us more money. We also talked about water. Who was in the water session and wants to share what they learned? Water? The lady there in the back.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Daniela. The last session yesterday, it was about the production of cocoa and coffee. And I learned that presently the demand for cocoa is high and the production rate is very, very low. And I learned that that's an opportunity for farmers to go into cocoa production. And I learned that whenever a particular product is less, it's an opportunity for you to go into the market, to go into the trade. And I also learned yesterday that if you want to send your product to another country for sales, you can't produce alone. You can join to the same production of the same crop with one or two or more people, so you can produce more and you can export. And again, I learned that if the demand for a particular thing is high, then you go for the business. And again, if you want to export certain things, like, for example, the lady, I can't remember the lady's name yesterday, the white lady is in Namibia. Okay, Aisha told us that, like, for example, if you want to export watermelon, and you can't just export that in that whole, maybe if you want to export watermelon, you can export maybe few because it's in a bulk form. But you can chop it and maybe you dry it. I learned yesterday that you can dry watermelon. That was the first time I knew that you can dry watermelon. So far, that was what I learned yesterday.
Well, you were definitely listening. You covered quite a lot of areas. But yes, that is true. There's a lot of value addition that we can give our products and increase the price and increase the return that we are able to get from those products. All right, so we also talked about water. We talked about gender. Who was in those sessions who would like to share what they learned? Okay. Anybody else? Water session, gender session. I'm remembering faces from the water session. Would you like to share?
Thank you very much. Yesterday, I learned a lot, but most especially water, because water is very key when it has to do with agriculture. And it's not just having any kind of water, but you have to have a water with quality. And yesterday we are told about the various components or ingredients for a water to have that quality for your crops, some of which I can remember is it has to have hardness, is it sorbidity, etc. Also, the pH that is demanded for a farmland is actually, because there was a colleague that asked in that area, what's the pH required? And Ma'am Kosia, is it Kosia, and told us that it ranges from 65 to 85%, if I got that correctly. So in the area of water, you have to have that quality for your crops to also grow in that way you want it to grow. So thank you.
All right, thank you. I think it was 6.5, the pH is 6.5 to 8.5, and she highlighted that we are part of the process. So how we use water will determine whether that water is going to be suitable for agriculture in the future. Anyone who was in the gender session? Williamson, just behind you.
Yeah, good morning. I'm Sally Unisa Kamara, and I was at the Gender Transformative Model session yesterday, and it was my take-home session. You know, we discussed issues surrounding the agriculture sector, issues that has to do with gender, in which we look at some of the transformative models that if we want to achieve a gender equality in the agriculture sector, we must ensure we looked at some of these issues. Issues that has to do with access to land, funding, market, and some other areas. Because looking at some of these issues, there has not been a level playing ground. When it comes to access to land, when it comes to funding, you know, there is always challenges when it comes to, whenever a woman wants to access a piece of land or neither seek funding, that is always a challenge for them. So if we want to achieve a gender equality in the area of agriculture, some of these areas has to be looked into. And we also look at the challenges some of these vulnerable groups do face in the area of agriculture, especially women. You know, when it comes to agriculture, they do 70% of the work, but only earn something like 10% income, you know, and that raises an eyebrow. And one of the possible challenges or the cause to this could be the tradition and custom norms, you know. We just have the perception, or we've been groomed with the perception that women should always, or should not, when it comes to owning land, you know, in most part, in the provinces, when you go to the provinces, women don't have access to lands. Or they only have access, but they don't have ownership to the land. You know, having ownership to and that of access is quite different thing. Somebody who is owning a particular land has a tendency to reap income or benefit out of it. But just having access to it is not the same as somebody who is owning a piece of land. And we also talk on the area of funding. When it comes to funding, there are, you know, we do have, when a woman wants to seek funding, there is this requirement that she must bring along her husband in order for her to be granted a particular loan. Whereas the reverse is not applicable when a man wants to do the same. So those are some of the issues we discussed.
All right, thank you so much for your synopsis. I think we are all excited for the conversations we're having today. Online, we have Mr. Ernest Obi, who's going to be joining one of our sessions. But just like we did yesterday, we are going to break into two groups. The first group will be in here, and the second is in the breakout room 1. So for today, we're going to be discussing agro-SMEs investability and integration into the regional and global chains. And we'll also be discussing the apparel or garment industry threading strategically for collaborative and sustainable growth. So for the garment session, it will be in the breakout room 1, and we'll remain here for the other session on investability of agro-SMEs. So let's quickly move into the sessions, same to yesterday. Let's just split into two groups. Some go into that room and some stay here. If you're in the back, feel free to come to the front. Feel free to come to the front. Feel free to come closer. Okay. All right. As we start this conversation, I'd like to invite our key speaker, Mr. Ernest Obi. Are you there? Can you hear us? Please go right ahead. Introduce yourself and the work that you're doing in the agriculture space.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Ernest Obi. I'm a citizen of the Gambia. I worked for the ECOWAS Commission as head of Agriculture Division for 14 years, and I retired in August, and presently serving as a advisor on agriculture and rural development in the Department of Agriculture. Yeah.
Thank you, Ernest. If you didn't hear him clearly, we're getting a bit of a feedback, so I'll just echo. Ernest is from the Gambia, and he is working with agro-entrepreneurs and facilitating investments. All right, so maybe we'll start off just talking about businesses, agro-businesses. I believe most of us in this room are in one way or the other involved in business in agriculture. What do you think are the main components to make your business investable? What do you think is important for people to be able to invest in your business? Anyone who wants to take a stab at it? What is important for your business to be investable? And by investable, we mean for your business to be able to get money either from a bank or from shareholders. What exactly needs to happen? Williamson, there's also someone behind you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Laju Kaka founder and farm manager of Silkpaka Farm of Bondi Street. For your farm to become funded or for you to get grants for your business, I think first of all, you need to start or you have an idea. Bringing up an idea like, for instance, you want to become a farmer, you need to work on your business plan. If you want to do it as a business, because you can do it farming maybe for a family purpose just to be consumed at home. But if you want to do it as a business, you have to work on your business plan. After you're working on your business plan, for you to attract more funding, you have to have what we call business model. You need to have the way and the method you want to do your own business or your own farming. Like for instance, in my own farm, before I start, I work on my business plan and my strategic point, like the area that I want to go into. Because in farming, we have different ways on in agriculture. Maybe you want to go into value-added service. You want to go into growing the crops for raw materials for people that are producing. Like for me, I'm into pineapple, cashew, and coconut farming. So I produce the raw material for people that want to do maybe production for other things. So I do my business plan, business model, then I start. When you start, they say when product that is seen is easily buy by the one that is not seen. Like when somebody visits you or you told somebody, this is what I have or this is what I'm doing, then the person sees that, yes, you are doing something. I think for you to attract funding is that easy. And you have to look for opportunities, like business funding opportunities. When they come up, you have to apply, put your all, and with that, you'll be able to move forward to the next level. But in agriculture per se, you cannot do it by mouth or by idea. I have an idea, I want to go. You need to start. That's the most important thing. Like when one of our presenters was telling us yesterday, like currently we are encouraging our colleague farmers for us to grow organic. Because if you look at the world market currently, some products are being rejected because they are not organic products. If you have like your NPK 1515, which you are used to for you to apply on your crops to grow well, yeah, it will grow, but some markets will reject it because it's not organic. It's inorganic crop or you have presented. So for you to attract funding, I think those are the basic things you need to do. You have to get your land, try to work on your business plan or model how to want to run your farm. Try to do your registration again. It's very, very more paramount because we have attended a lot of programs on agriculture. Registration is a key. You have to register your business or your farm. Neither be your district council or ministry, and also tax again. That's another problem we face when we apply for grants. Or when you want to, maybe you want to get crowdfunding or you want to get angel funding. When you are in this pitch night, you want to pitch your idea, you need to register your business. When your farm is registered, it will be easier for you to identify or to be funded. So that's a key again. So I would like to stop here. Maybe I will have a colleague that wants to add their own voice.
Thank you so much. That is a packed response. There are multiple areas. Williamson, could you pass the mic to him? There are multiple touch points there, and I'll come back to that.
Good morning, guys. My name is Israel Esfire. And if you are expecting for your business to excel, there are measures we need to put in place. Number one is what? Branding. You need to brand your own products. Maybe you need to have the notion in you also that you are not the only person that is doing this business in the same area, but you have competitors. For you to overcome these competitors, you need to brand your own product so that you could be able to draw the attention of the customers. Then number two is what? Environmental scanning. Whenever you want to apply a business, first thing you need to consider is the environment where you are going to occupy. Maybe the environment is not suitable for that particular purpose. So if that be the reason, I think you need to skip from that particular one and find a comfortable area.
Correct as well. Thank you so much. I think that there's so many things that have been discussed by the two speakers, even in that short period of time, and we're going to try and break those down one by one, right? So when we talk about investments for businesses, there are a couple of options that are available. One that has been very prevalent and available in Sierra Leone is grant funding. Grant funding is when you get money to do specific things in your business that you would have otherwise had challenges to do on your own. And that has a specific output that you have to provide. But in return, it's almost like you're just getting someone to support you as a favor. It's almost a gift, but the gift has specific requirements for you to perform. The second one is potentially getting a bank loan or a loan from your susu, if you're part of a susu, or a loan from a microfinance, where they want different things from you. The biggest one being the bank would want some kind of collateral or an asset to say if you're not able to repay the loan, they will take that asset and repossess it. And then the other option is to get equity. Equity are shares in your business. And this is one of the ways that a lot of people are able to fundraise for their businesses successfully. However, it requires that you let go of a portion of your business and give other people ownership in your business. And there are different ways of doing that as well. It can be a direct equity agreement where they give you money in exchange for shares in your company, or it can be a convertible debt, which is that they give you money as a loan, and at a later agreed date, that amount converts into equity. And lastly, it could be preference shares, where you're expected to pay some element of interest, but you don't necessarily give them full ownership into your company. So these are options of investing into your business. And like one of the speakers rightfully said, you need to make a business model for your business. You need to understand, how are you going to make money? I will grow watermelons and I will harvest them at this time, and then I will sell them at this time to make this level of profit. So you have to map out for yourself how you're actually going to make money. And from that business model, you then design your business plan. The business plan is sort of a description of how your business works. It explains how you're going to do your business, which is the business model, how you will support it by marketing, and who your team members are. This is important information. When someone is about to put money in your business, they cannot do so blindly without knowing what the business is doing, who is behind the business, and how you want to use the money that you're asking for. Remember, we talked about it yesterday, that you can say, I need money for a tractor, but when the money comes, you see a car and you think, oh, maybe a personal car would do instead of the tractor that I wanted for my business, right? Okay, so going back to Mr. Ernest, I'm curious to hear from your own experience if there are any other things that are important for businesses to consider for their investability.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ernest. And I don't know if you guys heard, he might be from Gambia, but he was educated in Sierra Leone and Ghana. And I think that's just a highlight of how we as a continent are just one. We are penetrable. We have connections alongside different activities, be it education, agriculture, and if only we could tap into it, we will get more out of it. Thank you so much, Ernest, for highlighting the importance of having certain structures in your business for you to be able to be investable. Important to also note, these same structures that we're talking about, having your business registered, having a track record showing your output and activities, having a business model and a business plan that's clearly defined, having a team that's also clearly defined, are all part of information that is required for your business when you're looking at expanding or entering into new markets, or just dealing with new markets, be it for trading purposes. You want to take your products from Sierra Leone to another country. They want to know, who are you registered? Are you paying your taxes, etc., etc.? So in as much as we're talking about these aspects as being important for the purpose of just getting your business more investable, they are the bedrock and the baseline for your agro-business to be recognized anywhere in the world, or anywhere even in Sierra Leone, as a business that's actually carrying out activities. Now, I want to open the floor for questions, particularly on investability, before we move into the integration into other markets.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate this gathering. I think I want us to be more practical. Let's be down to the earth. How many of us in this audience can prepare a business plan? How many of us in this audience can do a business model that is presentable to a donor for funding? How many banks in this country has funded agriculture, even to the least extent? So, why we're asking this question is, we've had a lot about making progress in agriculture, but the reality is, we are really far from it. We are far away from it. So if we talk of empowering the youth, a lot of them doesn't understand what is business plan. Somebody has to prepare the business plan. If they want one, somebody else, they have to pay for it, and they don't have it. That is one. Some of them, you talk of value chain, they know how to plant. But what happened to post-harvest losses? I went to Kabbalah. I saw a heap of potato that perished from a farm. I shed tears myself. So when you plant and there is no market, what happens? So value chain can be harnessed when you produce for a particular purpose, and you're sure, if I plant 20 acres of corn, I have an outlet to sell it. I'm not losing anything. But what happens if I plant the corn? The corn is ready for harvest. There are no storage facilities. I'll likely lose them. Or I plant. I have challenges. There are pesticide or other things destroying the farmland. I don't know what to do, no assistance. I could lose the entire farmland. So I think I will appreciate us looking at this holistically. In this country, banks don't give agricultural loans. So let's rule that out. It's not a source of finance for us. Investment. People are not ready to invest in agri. Very few. Even normal business, a lot don't want to. They are looking for free money. But to say real investment is not there. And then business acumen and experience of most young people here, fresh graduated from school, is also very low. So we appreciate a situation where if you can bring us together, groom us, give us the training, update our skills, and make systematic plan that can assist us. So we'll start something, and then we'll grow with it. Because I don't know how many of us here can develop business plan on our own that can stand the test of time. But if we can think of an option that we could form groups, small groups that is more viable. 3-4 people come together, form a solid group, register a name rather than stand alone, and then work together with some support and guidance so that they come up with something good, something strong, something that can be presentable, so that the benefit of agriculture can be harnessed. The truth is, there are a lot of agricultural potential in this country, but if we are not down to earth with the realities and address the challenges headlong, I'm not sure we'll be able to harness them. The potentials are there, quite large, but getting to pick them up will require a lot more. We need to come together, be more grounded, more thorough, find a way of making arrangements such that if we plan with a market in view. If I plant corn now, maybe I have a processing plant somewhere I'll empty my corn to. I should not plant corn and then after harvesting it, I don't know what to do with the corn. And I lose half of it. I won't be encouraged next time to go ahead. And don't forget, this is an investment. So we should look at how to link people to value chains. If you have an industry somewhere that demands a product, I plant it, that specification, ship it there, I have a ready market for it. I'll be encouraged. But if it's just to plant for planting's sake, and I don't have a ready-made market, what's the guarantee that if I borrow money to plant, I'll get the desired result and so on? So these are the issues. In this country, there are no silos and other storage devices. So I don't have where to store the goods, pending when I can sell them. And because of poverty, the purchasing power in Sierra Leone lately is very low. People buying goods are very low. Everybody in the small community do subsistence farming. They farm to eat. So in the local areas, you hardly sell much. Everybody there brings the food to town here. Freetown is where you buy food a bit. Even for them in local village, transportation of goods from there to town is also an issue. So all these are real challenges agriculture is facing. So we appreciate a situation where we look at how to address these issues. Group young men in a way they can come up with strong ideas and then be able to tap from the available resources we have so that we can, that way we'll be able to harness the agricultural potentials in the country. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Sorry, I did not get your name.
Innocent Thompson.
Okay. Mr. Innocent, thank you so much for your contribution. I think you've highlighted a lot of realities that we have on the ground. And I think the platform we are creating here today is to try and address some of those realities, right? It's to try and provide a way for us to know this is where we are and this is where we need to go. What we have done, though, is we've broken the conversation into different topics. And in this specific topic, we wanted to focus mostly on understanding how to get investable, how to be able to make money. There are companies, as I speak, that are looking for businesses in agriculture to invest in, but they're not able to find those businesses because the businesses are not properly structured. So when you're looking at why we're not able, you raise the points rightly that people don't know what a business plan is. People don't know what a business model is. But today, you know you need a business model and you need a business plan to be able to become investable. So now when you're looking at your own business, you have to find out, okay, there's a thing called a business model and a thing called a business plan that we need to have for us to be able to get that funding. So it's part of bridging the gap. We're not saying today, go and build a business model or go build a business plan, but there are so many programs that are running in the country offering training in these areas, and most of them have been for free. But people have not signed up because they don't know what it is or don't know how important it is. I think once we have all the contacts of everybody, we'll also share when these programs come up, so you know there's a business plan training, there's a business model training that you can attend, and then we can take it from there. Yep. I hope that is answered. Oh, there's a contribution here. Yep, go ahead.
Okay. I want to give a kudos to my brother. He don't say a lot. We not good in them. We for we the farmers them. Let me come up. When he's talking about the area of business plan, that there are people in this house or in this particular program that they cannot structure a business plan. Yeah, that is true. But the most important thing, according to our speaker, you have to get the passion first. You cannot just, not everybody can become a farmer, or not everybody can become a medical doctor. You have to get the passion. Like, I'm not coming from an agricultural background, but today I'm a farmer. So you need to identify what you want to do. I think if you identify what you want to do, you will know the plans that you will walk ahead. Like he was talking about post-harvest loss. I have a training on that last week. This is a kind of thing. Before you go into any farming or any production of crops, you need to do your market survey. You cannot just go and produce sweet potato that you don't have market for it. You need to do that. Check on people that are into this business, mentorship. Go through your area or your district you are growing this sweet potato. Ask people that are into it. Who are the potential buyers of this sweet potato? When you identify them, you will be able to go into that area of farming. You don't just grow it because you want to grow it. At the end of the day, you will get post-harvest loss. You will not get anyone to buy. Then the same area of post-harvest loss, we have what we call partnership. I'm the one that produced the sweet potato. We have a sister here that want to produce a potato chips. I have to partner with her. So I will supply the raw material to her. Then she will convert it to the potato chips. So there comes in. I got my money, she got her money. So you will see, for you to avoid post-harvest loss, we have a lot of ways that we do. Market survey. You have to do environmental scanning, visibility studies. You don't just go into something because you want to do it or the next man is doing it. That's the thing. So we have a lot of opportunities, just like our speaker was saying. Identify opportunities. Like I came way back from Bondi Street. Almost I attend trainings and seminars in Freetown more than 10 times in a month. I pay my transport for myself because I want to build myself with that area that I want to go into. The area of entrepreneurship. Identify opportunities online. When you see training, attend it. Go for it. Get the certificate and the knowledge. You will be able to impact it on your farm or your business you are doing. So a lot of excuses that he was giving. I think when you have the knowledge about it, you will not give that kind of excuse. Because if I'm the producer of the raw material, I need to identify the person that wants to process and package it. When I identify that particular person, I will go into post-harvest loss, yes, but not that much of percentage that I was expecting that I will not get a buyer. So, likewise, the business plan too. I don't think if I want to do a business, I don't have plan for it. Where do I want to see my business in the next 5 years? That's planning. I want to plant cocoa. Where do I want to see my cocoa product? Do I just want to produce the raw material? Fine, you can stop that. That is your range, you want to it. But I want to produce the cocoa powder for tea. I want to produce this. You have to identify your plan. By so doing, you will be able to work on it. And you have people that can help in that area. Some of us, when we wanted to build our business plan in this agricultural area, we meet experts. There are some people you meet, they are willing to give out their knowledge to you free. There are some people you will pay for it. So just identify people. Like when we are here, this is the place to connect to certain people. I met a brother here yesterday. He's a master for my own level in proposal writing. I have connected with him, and we are talking. Presently, just after this program, I'm going to meet him because I want to build myself in proposal writing. And I have a proposal to submit against this month. So that's just it.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. I think there's a lot that we can do and take advantage of. And having the right information, it will help you go in the right direction for those things to happen. And one of the things that you touched on that I want to carry forward is the partnership, right? You're producing one thing, and there's somebody else who uses what you're producing as a raw material for what they are producing. There has to be that integration, and that's the integration of value chains, right? It can happen here in Sierra Leone. That's the matchmaking we are hoping to achieve in these sessions. But also it can happen across the continent, which is also part of the reason this platform has been created. I'll come back to you, Mr. Obi. From your experience, what are the main challenges that SMEs are facing in integrating value chains across the continent?
go, I would just wrap them. So you have to know that. Also,
Thank you very much, Mr. Obi. I think you've touched on very interesting aspects there, one of which is the need for partnerships. We cannot do it on our own. We have to come together as farmers in a specific sector to be able to supply at a large scale to different suppliers, to different customers. For example, if we are looking at shipping gari or cassava out of Sierra Leone, it will be very, very difficult for one farmer to fill a container of gari on their own. But if you work together as a collaboration of farmers, then you can actually fill that container and ship to another country quite easily than if you try to do it by yourself. However, the other advantage, especially from what Mr. Obe was saying, is that you get to learn from each other. You need to research. You need to understand, invest in innovation in yourself. You educate yourself. Give yourself an opportunity to win in this sector. But if you don't have any information on that and you do not know how to do it, you will be stuck on your own, feeling like it's totally impossible. When you look at the opportunities that lie ahead of us, they are big and can feel insurmountable. But when you take your time and go through the steps, do some research, get some partners, modify your product and understand what your customers are looking for, you can actually still be able to tackle it. Okay, Mr. Obi, I have one more question for you, which is, when we're looking at integrating into Africa versus integrating into other parts of the world, what are the main differences between the two, and what challenges can SMEs anticipate? Hello? Mr. Obi, can you hear me? The question is, when you're comparing integrating into African markets compared to global markets, what kind of challenges can the businesses anticipate? What are the main differences?
Thank you very much.
explained a couple of things that we have to keep in mind when we are looking at integrating into regional and global markets. And one of the things that he said that we have to have in mind is agriculture is a business. It was our way of life before, where we would just grow for our families and eat from there. But now when we're looking at expanding and reaching other communities, we have to look at agriculture as an actual business. We have one such business person in the room today with us, Mrs. Mariama Seriburi. I'm going to ask her to come and speak to us about her own experience in setting up a business in agriculture, the inspiration, and the journey that has brought us to this point here. Just give her a few minutes, a round of applause for Mariama.
Thanks. Yes. So what would you like me to talk about?
Okay, so we have Mariama. She's the founder of Jaima Farms, and they have an incredible pepper sauce that they're making. Maybe you can tell us a bit about how your journey started up to where you are now at Jaima Farms.
Okay. So just a bit of background on me. I am Mariama, as you said, and I studied agriculture in Nigeria. I'm Sierra Leonean, by the way. I studied agriculture in Nigeria and then decided to move back to Sierra Leone. For about 7-8 years, I was strictly working for the FAO of the United Nations. I also worked for the Ministry of Agriculture as a technical advisor. And then, several capacity, I worked in the President's delivery team. So I have a lot of experience into like project management, delivery, and, working at that strategic level. But also during my work, I did interact with farmers. But I think one thing about me is that I've always been interested in agriculture, right? I'm an entrepreneur. I always want to do some sort of business. I think even when I was young, my mom would be like, oh, I would just take something and I want to sell. Not that I had to, but I did it. Anyways, fast forward to 2018. Yes, 2018, my husband and myself, we bought a piece of land at Newton, 1 acre. We wanted to do poultry production because I had done something similar when I was in Nigeria at the university. One day, I had a lecture in class, and my lecturer was talking about, the opportunities in the poultry sector. And then right there, I was like, I've got some money in my account. I can start a poultry farm. So I went home because my dad is there, and I asked, oh, can I use your poultry house? My dad was like, okay, yes, you can. And it was 2 months before the festive period, the December festive period. I raised 100 birds, made over $200 profit at that time. It was my first time to like having a hands-on experience. So when I came back to Sierra Leone in 2018, like I said, we bought the land. It was to do poultry production. We left the land for about a year, and then afterwards we started producing just peppers and just experimenting on the farm. Through that process for about a year, we did peppers, we did maize, I think we did rice as well at some time, we did okra. So the first year was more of experimentation. And what that did for us really was to know what works, what does not work. Also, because it was on a small scale, it was okay to make mistakes and also learn from them. So I think that's where really the journey started. And a year after that, in 2019, we decided to re-strategize. Someone talked about planning, right? Know who your market is, where your markets are, who your niche market is. So I was like, okay, I don't want to grow my peppers and just sell at the market. I have my specific clientele. So what I started doing was I will grow the same pepper at that time that everyone would grow. But then what did I do? After work, imagine I had my full-time work at that time. I'll come back home, sort my peppers myself, and package them in Ziploc bags, label them, so branding. Sell it out to supermarkets or sell it out to family and friends. So I'll just call, are you interested in nicely packaged and sorted pepper? Yes, the demand was amazing. Furthermore, what we did was, okay, we had some issues on the farm, you know, talking about constraints on the farm. We had lots of theft issues. So we're like, okay, well, we're going to stop growing what people want in our area. Let's re-strategize a little bit. And then we started growing other types of peppers that are not really in high demand in the country. We started growing things like kale and spinach, and also did some okra. And those ones were not things you can take to the market, but then we had our set of people also that we sell to, and we've been doing that for the last 3-4 years. We went a stage further in 2020. We decided to add value to our products even more, to go beyond just growing and packaging. We decided to do our hot sauce business. And we started our hot sauces with 4 different flavors. It's called the Jaima hot sauce. We've got the plain ginger, lemon, and garlic hot sauces. And what we did was just to use our excess pepper from the farm, but also use habanero, because people like it hot here as well. And then process that and bottle. We used to use jam jars to bottle those ones. And family and friends really, really loved it. And luckily for us, we're blessed with some grants from one of the World Bank projects. And that really gave us a good start. I mean, we've been talking about access to finance here. It is a problem. We all know that. And that gave us the right kick. I'm sure we would have been able to do our own bottling, but it could have taken a lot more time if we hadn't had access to the grant. So we did that, got our first 1,000 bottles from China, and started bottling our sauces. We started selling about 100 bottles a month in all the supermarkets. The demand was getting higher, and slowly we're doing 500 bottles a month. Because people wanted more. So everybody would reach out, they go to the supermarkets, whenever they notice that our sauces are not there, hey Mariama, what's happening? We need to see your sauces, or we're traveling, we need your sauces. And a few of the remarks that we've really received are that, oh, your sauces are good, quality is good, we've maintained a certain standard, and I think the speaker this morning spoke about that as well. The packaging is also of international standard according to, you know, in my opinion, but also other people would attest to that. So we take our time at every point in time to make sure that our products are of premium quality. And I think we're growing. We're yet to export like officially, but people take our hot sauces, 20, 30, 50 bottles, and take it out, some for gifts to family and friends, but also some are also selling. We have approached like markets in the region, Guinea for instance, and like, oh, get us some samples. Would like to try your sauces in one of the big supermarkets there. So there's a lot of opportunities. Everybody eats hot sauces. So I mean, just to bring us back, that it's possible. And sometimes you need a lot of capital, it's true. But what I always say is start something, start small, and something will come around. Something will come around. Government's focus, the donors' focus is now on agriculture. So once you're doing something good, the help will come somehow. But then there are other things that you also have to take into consideration.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mariama. I think you have shared, you've almost touched on everything that we have been doing. From value addition, even just starting from scratch, experimenting, trying to evaluate what works versus what doesn't, and then getting into the market with an introductory product, but then value adding and improving constantly. So you have the traction that shows your journey and where you've been, and I want to congratulate you on that. One last question I have for you is, are you still in full-time employment?
Yes. Well, not full-time. I do consultancies now. As at 2020, I decided to take time off, full-time work, because farming is very time-consuming agriculture or agribusiness, because I'm not just doing farming, but I'm also doing transformation. It's very time-consuming, and we've all talked about the skills issues that we have. So at some points, the farm required more of my time. So that meant that I couldn't be at a full-time 9-to-5 job. So I decided to quit my job to focus on the farm a little bit, to train my staff, to get someone to come and help as well. And we've been seeing some changes really. So I consult, but I'm not on a 9-to-5 job.
So you can make a farming business your full-time job, your full-time occupation. Thank you so much, Mariama. All right, I heard that one of our speakers is online now. Miss Evelyn, are you there? Yeah, it's okay. Evelyn, are you there? It's open for just maybe 2 questions before we end our session. Are there questions in the room? Yep.
Hello, everybody. I'm Ishmael Amadou Jallo. My question was to Mariama, but unfortunately, maybe you can step in her space. She mentioned during her speech that the first year was the year of experimentations to look at what will work and what will not work. As young entrepreneurs, agro-entrepreneurs present here, we want to know some of the lessons or some of the challenges that she learned or that she came through during her experimental period that she can advise young agro-entrepreneurs to look at and be very cautious at. Thank you.
So during that 1 year, what I learned was to target my market a little bit more. I remember that there was this Kenyan lady that came to Sierra Leone. She's in the exporting business in Kenya. And she's like, there's something I've noticed about Sierra Leoneans. You just grow. You don't look for a market first. You just grow and then hope that you'll get some market somewhere. That's something I learned during that process. It's good to experiment, and one thing that we learned during that period was you can't just grow. One, you need to grow with a focus, with a plan in mind. During that period as well, we're able to look at the issues, the pest issues on the different crops. So that was also on the technical side. How do we keep better records of our crops? What was working? What wasn't working? Then that comes again to the market. So in a nutshell, really, I would say we're able to get better knowledge of our market. What does the market need? What market, what are my values as a business? What market would I want to service, right? I was like, I don't want to service everyone, but like a certain set of people. So you can decide to do either way. So that helps you to know your market, and that gives you all the focus that you would need to grow and thrive. Because once you do that, you are sure that at the end of the day, you grow, you produce, and you can sell out. And also during that experimentation period, we're able to see mistakes, basic mistakes like agronomic practices, right? Those are things that we take for granted, but they could make or break a business. When am I supposed to do this, apply this or that? What pesticides do I need? Technical support, extension support is very weak in Sierra Leone. I'm not going to lie to anyone that wants to go into agriculture. And this is not to discourage you. We have the internet to reach out to. Until we have like a good private sector that steps into the picture, you need to do a lot of learning, a lot of research in terms of what you want to do. What are the issues, the pest issues? You need to have a family. This is why this platform is also very relevant, where you network with other people. You create a support group for yourselves, and if there are issues, you can just reach out, say, hey, I've got this issue, what do you think? This is what's working in other countries that we don't have in Sierra Leone. We all love to keep our information to ourselves, right? So for me, I would just say, know your market. During that experimentation period, you reduce the risk of loss as well, right? Because you're planting a very, very, very small area. So reduces the risk on you as a young farmer. You know the issues in farming. You just learn every day. You learn every day. Pretty much that's the lesson.
Thank you, Mariama, for sharing your experience. So we've come to the end of this session. But just as we're ending the session, we have received an important guest who has been the support of what we are doing here in so many ways. Allow me to welcome the Deputy Minister 1, Dr. Teresa Dock, who is now in our midst. She's sitting right there behind us. Could we give her a round of applause as a warm welcome? Welcome, Minister. We'll give the Minister an opportunity to speak after we have breakfast, which is now ready. I'll ask the team, the events management team, to help us serve breakfast. Fatmata, are you here? All right, so we are going to break for breakfast, but we will do it just like we did yesterday for lunch. So maybe the first 2 rows can go and get breakfast while everybody else just waits. Yeah? Okay, just hold on.
So for the breakfast, we're doing it in an orderly fashion with the coupons you have. You have the number, right? So we start from 1 to 10. The first 10 with their coupons can come for breakfast. 1 to 10, please. Let's do it quickly, please. How come